Hey everybody, it's your girl Jamaica again from the city of Hartford, state of Connecticut, and I'm having another divine moment with God where He's just giving me so much insight and revelation. So I wanted to share it with you. I'm in a little quiet place that I tend to go to when I have a break off my job. I won't tell you where it is because I don't want you to judge me, but sometimes you have to find yourself a secret place. And when I was reading Jeremiah 29, there's a familiar verse of scripture, 29 and 11, where he says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." We see that scripture everywhere. You see it on billboards, you see it on keychains, you hear people declare it all the time, and it almost makes you wonder, well, what is happening that the Lord would make such an affirmative statement to us, such an encouraging statement to us, that we use it to encourage ourselves. And so I went into the scriptures, and I'm just going to give you a couple of verses that I found, verses 4 and 7, but I encourage you to go back and read the whole chapter. It's always good to look at the before and the end, and also look at other books to try to get an understanding of what the Lord was saying at that time and how it's relevant today. And he says in verse 4, "This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says to all those I carried into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and settle down, plant gardens and eat what they produce." Here's the thing. The people of God were sent into exile. They were taken from their place of comfort. They were taken from the place that God had promised for them, that God had established them. And his word is saying that he himself is the one that allowed them to be exiled. And he's telling them, well, being that I sent you out and took you out from your place of comfort, now I want you to plant something. I want you to produce where you are. I want you to still prosper, even in a place that you are not familiar with, even in a place that you're not comfortable with. Then he says in verse 7, he says, "Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. Yes, this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says. Do not let the prophets and the diviners among you deceive you." Let me just stop right there. He's saying, even in your place, which is almost like a prison to you, you feel like you're in prison. You feel like you've been taken from everything that was so comfortable and familiar to you and put into another land and under a whole nother ruling, because they were taken from the kings of Israel and the king of Judah and put under a whole nother king, Nebuchadnezzar. And I hope I said that right. But nonetheless, they were completely taken out of what was familiar to them, and yet he's telling them to prosper. He's telling them to have more children, make wealth in the land, increase in the land. And they're like, what? I'm assuming they're like, what? I just want to go back home. I just want to go back to my place of comfort. But he's saying, no, even if I send you out to a place that's uncomfortable for you, that's unfamiliar to you, I need you to still have the desire to prosper, because if you're a king in the land that I gave you, you're a king in the land of uncomfortableness. All right? And then he says, "Don't let the prophets and the diviners among you deceive you. Do not listen to the dreams you encourage them to have. They are prophesying lies to you in my name. I have not sent them, declares the Lord." Let me read this one sentence again. He says, "Do not listen to the dreams you encourage them to have." Meaning, in some way or form, they manipulated the prophets and the diviners among them to give them prophecies that made them comfortable. You don't want to be in a house. You don't want to be in a church where you just hear everything that you desire to hear. No, you need correction. You need advisement. You need someone who knows you to say, hold up, stop the press. Let's talk about this. Let's seek the Lord in this decision you're about to make. You don't want everybody to tell you what feels good and what sounds good to you. And this is what he's saying. He's saying, wait a minute, don't get yourself in a comfortable place. Will you even go to the leaders? Will you even go to the prophets to help you be comfortable in this situation? Be real with yourself. Be real in what the Lord is doing in your life, and be real with your expectations. That's what I see when I know the plans that I have for you. And and plans, can I just tell you this? Plans means purpose, meaning his purpose is always to redeem us. Remember, that's the reason why the Lord died. Always focus on the goal. Purpose and goal work together. So everything that's happening in your life, understand it's working according to his goal, and that is to redeem us. So stay in that safe place, knowing that whatever's happening in your life is in the will of God. And if he has called it to be, know that he knows that you're going to have an expected end. An expected end means that you know that on that day that he calls you, that you'll be ready and you'll be with him for eternity. God bless you, and I pray that you've been encouraged, because I know that I have. God bless you.